eating disorders, childhood bullying, and crippling self-doubt. Aimee Lou Wood may have achieved new levels of success while co-starring on The White Lotus, but beneath the fame and glamour, she hasn't had it easy. As a kid growing up, Aimee Lou Wood was constantly teased about her teeth. Now that she is a public figure, however, her smile has gotten attention on an entirely different level.
I can't believe the impact my teeth are having. It's like, oh my God, it feels so lovely.
While Wood does appreciate the love her teeth have received, she's also grown tired of it being the #1 talking point, telling GQ, "The whole conversation is just about my teeth, and it makes me a bit sad because I'm not getting to talk about my work, and I have to go there. I don't know if it was a man, would we be talking about it this much? It's still going on about a woman's appearance." The conversation around Wood's teeth reached a fever pitch when Saturday Night Live did a Donald Trump-themed parody of The White Lotus. But Trump and his administration were not the only ones who were mocked by the sketch comedy series. Cast member Sarah Sherman also did an unfavorable impression of Wood's character Chelsea.
"You all right? What's that?"
Wood was quick to criticize the sketch's lack of sensitivity. Taking to her Instagram stories, the actor acknowledged that she was not happy about the impression, calling it mean and unfunny. Although she did ultimately receive an apology from SNL, Wood's troubles did not end there. Even after she called out the sketch, Wood's White Lotus co-star Walton Goggins praised it. In his own Instagram stories, Goggins called the sketch smashing.
Why are you laughing at that?
I don't know, no reason.
As a child, Wood was also bullied a lot by her school peers. As she revealed in a 2021 interview with The Guardian, many of her classmates would make fun of her teeth and her body. Wood was teased to such an extent that it torpedoed her self-esteem. So much so, she began to worry that she would never make it as an actor. She confessed, "I always used to say, I will never get a job on TV because I'm too weird looking." Anyone who's been bullied knows what it's like to hear these things, to internalize it and turn it in on yourself and go, if I was just less ugly, just less this, just more of this. Growing up, Wood also felt like a bit of an oddball who didn't necessarily connect well with other students. In a 2020 interview with Stylist, Wood said that she was weird when she was a kid, admitting, "I had an imaginary dog. Kenny, I've lost Kenny. I would be crying and everyone would be running about looking for him in the bushes." That was in year 5, far too old to be doing that kind of but it was such a safe and lovely environment. It was at secondary school that things became more difficult. Wood also recounted how out of place she felt at her secondary school, telling The Guardian in 2020, "They were all posher than me. The mum of a friend would take the piss out of my Stockport accent. I was getting so badly bullied, but I pretended none of it was bothering me."
Well, I've got several gaps.
Hey!
While Wood's life seems glamorous and charmed now, her upbringing certainly was a different story. In her interview with Stylist, Wood explained that her father's own struggles had a negative impact on their family. She told the outlet, "My dad was a drug and alcohol addict, and he was always coming and going. He would go out for a pint and not come back for days. He once went out and didn't come back for 10 weeks because he'd been to the World Cup in Korea." Wood's parents ultimately split up and her father got sober. Throughout these ups and downs, Wood found something that provided her with a creative outlet that she needed: acting. As she told The Guardian in 2023, "It's funny, people like me get into acting because it helps them in some way. It helps you express yourself or gives you a shield from bad things." When she was still in school, Wood developed anorexia and bulimia. She opened up about her history with eating disorders in a 2023 conversation with The Guardian, saying, "Your body becomes like an enemy. I was so detached from my body when I was in the eating disorders. It was like I was outside it, scrutinizing it. I am very gradually getting over that."
I actually wrote on my mirror when I was younger, "fat," in lipstick.
Wood struggled considerably with these eating disorders, and when she was at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, it all came to a head. As she recounted in her 2021 interview with The Guardian, the administration even confronted her about it. Wood told the outlet, "Oh my God, I hated them. I had a completely blank face, but inside, this internal anger was like, how dare you do this to me?" In the end, though, this kind-hearted interference was apparently good for Wood, who has since described it as harsh but necessary. Following this important conversation, the actor started therapy and began an important healing journey. A huge part of acting is being able to fully embody a character. For Wood, however, this has not always come easily. Speaking at a Harper's Bazaar event in 2023, she reflected on how her own relationship with her body has evolved over the years. She said, "I hated my body and didn't want to be in it. That's not the case anymore, thank God. But then, going to drama school, it can get even worse. I have scoliosis, so neutral for me is not neutral for everyone else." The feedback she would get from teachers rattled her confidence. She told The Guardian in 2023, "At drama school, I was being told consistently that I was moving my body in the wrong way." Years later, when she was brought on to play Sally Bowles in a West End production of Cabaret, Wood couldn't help but get in her own head about the dance numbers. She told The Guardian, "So when I walked into a rehearsal, where I have to express myself through my body, I felt like I was going to burst into tears. I hate feeling awkward in my own body." For many actors, the prospect of becoming famous is thrilling. But for Wood, the opposite has been true.
It's okay. It's giving yourself permission to not be happy all the time.
Ever since she landed her role in the Netflix hit Sex Education, Wood has become a household name. But what would be a dream for some has proven to be a curse for the actor. The reason? Her fame has meant a massive loss in privacy. Wood explained to The Guardian in 2023, "If you've been bullied as a kid like I was at school, the feeling of being noticed wherever you go, it was not healthy for me." Occasionally, some of the show's viewers went so far as to harass her. She told Grazia in 2021, "I was at the pub once with Simone Ashley, who plays Olivia, and these guys on another table were shouting, 'I've seen your Experiences like this one proved so stressful for Wood that she began to avoid leaving her house. She confessed, "I stayed at home for a long time.
This isn't my comfort zone at all."
On the flip side, some fans who connected with her character's sexual assault storyline would approach her with their own stories. As well-intentioned as the fans might have been, these interactions were profoundly overwhelming. She told The Guardian, "When you're in fight or flight mode, you can't really differentiate." Even as Wood's filmography continues to blossom, she can still feel inadequate from time to time, so much so that she almost didn't try out for the White Lotus despite dreaming of being on the show while watching the first 2 seasons. Wood told The Hollywood Reporter, "It puts so much pressure on me. I really tried to trick myself out of sending an audition self-tape." And after she did land the part, she experienced a bad case of imposter syndrome, evidently second-guessing whether or not she was right for the gig. In an interview with GQ, Wood admitted that her casting on the series wasn't a smooth process. She told the outlet, "Someone told me how much show creator Mike White had fought for me. While this remark was only meant to gas her up, it ended up having an adverse reaction." She admitted, "My little head goes, HBO didn't want me, and I know why HBO didn't want me. It's because I'm ugly. Mike had to say, 'Please let me have the ugly girl.' That was the thing that was in my head." Wood does recognize that she adds some fuel to the negativity fire. As she told Stylist, "It's a myth I've told myself. I had it in my brain that I'm not conventional looking enough to play certain roles. And that's a mental barrier I've had to overcome." One might assume that Wood is happy with where her life is given the amount of success she's had. The reality, however, is much more complicated than that. Though she loves what she does for a living, she can't help but picture herself leading a private and chill existence. As she told The Cut, "I have a whole fantasy recently that I could open a bookshop in Cornwall and I'll write." In her conversation with GQ, she also admitted that she'd frankly rather spend time hanging out with her friends than worrying about what's next for her as an actor. Wood also hopes to one day start a family, telling GQ, "I think this is why I get really obsessed with having a baby, because if I have a baby, everyone will leave me the alone. And I can't have a baby for that reason. I've always wanted a cozy house and a baby and a fire. I just want that. That's the dream." For now, though, Wood knows that this dream is not exactly in the cards. Instead, it seems she'll settle for the goal of becoming a writer. As she told Stylist, "I'd like to write something of my own, maybe a play that I could put on in a pub theater and make into a TV show. I'm always writing about unrequited love and miscommunication."
I think that the best thing is, be really committed to being honest.
Many stars from White Lotus Season 3 have real-life partners. but Wood is not among them. Despite having dated sex education co-star Connor Swindells for a while, Wood was single by the time she was in Thailand. She and Swindells split in 2020 after 2 years of dating. As she told stylist after the split, "It's very, very amicable, and I love him so much, but it still hurts." In a separate chat with Grazia, she noted that their busy schedules played a role in the dissolution of their relationship. Wood revealed, "We'd had some time apart because of work, and then we realized that maybe the relationship wasn't serving us both. It was an okay breakup. It wasn't dramatic." Despite these bittersweet feelings, Wood felt that their breakup was for the best. Apparently, the actor suffers from a history of unhealthy relationship patterns, one that interfered with her romance. She told Grazia, "I find it hard when I'm in relationships to maintain my sense of who I am. I'm very independent, but I'm also quite impressionable. I can be taken away from myself quite easily. I kind of start betraying myself and compromising my integrity to keep someone else happy." If you need help with an eating disorder or know someone who does, help is available. Visit the National Eating Disorders Association website or contact NIDA's live helpline at 1-800-931-2237. You can also receive 24/7 crisis support via text. Send NIDA to 741-741.